I would draw some attention towards the intrinsic intelligence from a modular technology that we have been adopted in terms of architecture, modularity and scalability. And is this modularity about convenience? Does it only the fundamental change that we are looking at the panel engineering? What could be your thoughts on these matters?
Convenience is just one of the advantages of a modular system. Like when you want a dining table or a sofa set and you want it immediately and you want it in large numbers, then perhaps one of the first companies which hits your mind is IKEA, where you get complete lockdown and you can bring it and the same day you can assemble it at home. We call it the 3 A's, which is accessibility, availability and affordability. So all these 3 things are very important when we look at a modular system. But most important of all is how fast is it available for you. Today, if you look at India, I think we are all going through a kind of a golden phase when it comes to the kind of orders which are there. You know, every other person I'm meeting, they're talking about 30%, 40%, 80% growth. And if that has to happen, and if we shouldn't be missing the bus, then availability of the enclosure at the time when it is required is the key. And for that, there is no better system than a modular system. I remember in the year 2017, Eaton approached me and they wanted me to get my enclosures type tested with Eaton switchgear to IEC 61439. So I said, sure, why not? The moment the type testing was passed, and that was the type test which we did in record time, just 45 days, and the entire 4000 amps panel was type tested. They landed me with an order of 35 crores. The previous year, I had done 36 crores turnover. And I had to execute this 35 crores in just a period of 5 months. I tell you, it just would not have been possible but for the modular system. Because it was modular, the shell was not a constraint for me. What was a constraint was really the assembly, the infrastructure which we had to scale overnight. So we were able to get hold of 3 to 4 vendors who would assemble the panels and execute it from an electrical standpoint, while we would supply the enclosures to them. The beauty is that when all the panels are assembled in the shop floor of, this was for Kia Motors, the whole system was looking uniform and all stakeholders were very happy about it. The proof of that happiness is in the fact that last year when Hyundai Motors, the sister concern of Kia Motors, took over the Tata Motors factory in Pune and they wanted to refurbish the whole plant, the order automatically came to load controls. So this importance of speed, and then the next one would be importance of adaptability. As an Indian enclosure manufacturing company, we are the most extensively type tested enclosure system. If you come to my stall in Hall 1, you'll see that I've dedicated a complete wall to the display of all my 16 certificates, what we have in terms of IEC 61439 and additionally of IEC 61641. So this compliance part is also very important from a safety and longevity point of view. Then we come to the adaptability to different switchgear makes. When you look at an OEM panel, most specifications feel that OEM means it's either Schneider, ABB or Siemens. But that's not what the IEC 61439 defines. IEC 61439 defines even the enclosure manufacturer like Rittel or Modutech who own the design. They are the people who are called OEMs and they will be in a position to offer the compliance certification from project to project. And this is where I've been talking to a number of electrical consultants, requesting them to put in their specification that it's not enough if you're IEC 61439 compliant, but the OEM has to give you what is called the declaration of conformity. And this is being very strictly followed in several countries overseas. In India, it needs to be picked up. This concept has to get energized, and that is in the hands of electrical consultants and specifiers who will take ownership for this. So there are therefore a lot of aspects, like if you look at the temperature rise, unless and until everything is overseen by a OEM, then the end user and the specifier they have more peace of mind that yes, the panel is compliant. You will not have temperature rise problems, you will not have IP problems or IK problems or form of constructions or short circuit related issues, because all these things the OEM takes responsibility for. So I think it's very important for our country to move ahead faster towards getting compliant panels in place rather than non-compliant panels. Last but not the least is the fact that when a project is there, you finish the panels and tomorrow there is an extension. In a welded panel, the person has to come there invariably, take the measurements and then extend it. In a modular system, everything is precision driven. So once you have that panel on an engineering drawing, you will be able to extend it. So there are a lot more advantages. The important thing is that we'll all have to adapt to newer technologies, advanced technologies as we go forward. Because if you look at any of the multinational companies, what we have here in terms of switchgear manufacturers, and all their switchboards, what they've introduced, none of them are welded. And that itself talks volumes for itself. Thank you.
That is more towards the sustainability point of view. You had also pointed out during your talk, you insist consultants to also carry out the conformity from an OEM. Supposing, say, if any panel builder has got certificates of type tested with the recognized laboratories, and that becomes a validation, you also wanted that to have an extra conformity from an OEM. This is what you mean?
100%. Because what the certificate says is that the panel builder has qualified himself to get he has passed the test. But what your client will be more interested in is whether the project panel is compliant. And there has to be a way in which the consultant would ensure that the project panel is compliant. Overseas, this is very, very important. The reason is that if there is a fire, God forbid, everyone will start with the documentation. And if the documentation is not available with the consultant to show to the insurance agencies that, look, I have done my homework properly and I have ensured that all safety measures have been taken, the insurance people might not give the due monies to your client. So therefore, it is very, very important that documentation, it needs to be focused on in order for you to protect your client's interest.
That's fine. Good practice.